Hey everyone, and welcome back. In EveOnline we have so many factions. So in today's video we will discuss about who are those guys, what do they want, what's their story, and where are they standing in terms of alliances. Let's roll this. We will have them all alphabetically ordered. First up is the Amarr Empire. Amarr Empire is one of the 4 major playable empires and is the oldest and the largest of the empires in New Eden. They started really small as a religious faction that fled their homeworld to escape persecution. So, whatever is small and persecuted today, later will become big and start to dictate things around. They are engaged in the Reclaiming, which is a series of holy wars aimed at spreading their faith, expand territory, and keep people enslaved. They have this story, I will enslave you, because that is the divine order, me to enslave you. But I will offer you the salvation given by my religion. Today, the Amarr Empire's primary objective is to continue the reclaiming. Everything is already ours, right? We only need to take it back. Also, they need to focus on internal stability, kind of hard to do given its diverse and often subjugated populations and the formidable opposition from its own pirate faction, the Blood Raiders. We will talk about them just shortly. The Amarr Empire's main ally is the Caldari State. If you ever wonder what would be the connection between a corporation-controlled state and an authoritarian regime, look no further. EveOnline shows us that kind of connection. The primary adversaries are the Ammatar Republic, whose people they once enslaved and who now fiercely oppose them, and the Galente Federation, whose ideals of liberty and democracy are not exactly going well with the Amarr's theocratic and authoritarian rule. Additionally, they have the Blood Raiders, a cult that has originated from within their own society. Amarr wants to save the universe by bringing in divine order in which they will play as the masters and everyone else will play as slaves. Next, we have the Ammatar Mandate. The Ammatar Mandate originated from the Nephantar tribe, a faction of Minmatar who chose to ally with the Amarr Empire during the Minmatar Rebellion. So, these guys, when the Minmatar Rebellion gained momentum, they sought protection and favor from the Amarr Empire, betraying their Minmatar brothers. In return from their loyalty, the Amarr has not punished them for treason or something, but instead, Amarr granted them autonomy within the empire structure, establishing the Ammatar Mandate. The primary objectives of the Ammatar Mandate today are to maintain their privileged status within the Amarr Empire. Also, they want to maintain their Minmatar roots to manage internal dissent and external threats, particularly from the Minmatar Republic, which views them as traitors. The Ammatar Mandate primary ally is the Amarr Empire. They heavily rely on Amarr support and protection. Their main enemies are the Minmatar Republic, who wants to liberate them. Well, they don't really want to be liberated, but Minmatar would liberate them anyway. Also, they have enemies in other various Minmatar factions and Minmatar allies, who see the Ammatar as collaborators and traitors. They need to be wary of internal insurgent groups and external pirate factions like the Angel Cartel, which see them as a weak link and an exploitable opportunity. The Ammatar Mandate is an unusual Amarr-Minmatar combination and a buffer zone between the two empires. Next, we have the Angel Cartel. Angel Cartel was founded by a coalition of outlaws, former military personnel, and disaffected members of various corporations, so they have roots in all factions. What are united them is the desire for wealth and power outside the confines of law and order. Originated from the region known as the Curse, Cartel is an organization that is nowhere and everywhere at the same time, while officially they are nowhere. And it's one of the 2 pirate factions real players or capsuleers can side up with. Primary objectives of the Angel Cartel is to expand their control over the black market, enhance their operational capabilities, and consolidate their power, especially in regions with weak or absent governance. The Angel Cartel frequently collaborates with other pirate factions and criminal organizations, including the Guristas Pirates and the Serpentis Corporation, to pursue their mutual interest. Their alliances are pragmatic, driven by common goals and the need for mutual protection against their enemies. The cartel's primary enemies include the Caldari State and the Galante Federation, both of which view the cartel as a significant threat to their trade and security. Additionally, Concord represents a persistent challenge as their enforcement actions directly target the cartel's illegal activities. Angel Cartel is the pirate organization with all over New Eden origins and all over New Eden level of infiltration. And we have reached Blood Rider Convenant. The Blood Rider Convenant was born from a schism within the Amarr Empire, specifically from the ranks of the faithful, who became disillusioned with the Empire's practices. Led by the charismatic and fanatical leader Vagr, the Convenant was formed as a radical offshoot of the Amarr religious order. So they got into a doctrine centered around consumption of blood. Hello Dracula, driven by a belief that it would grant them eternal life and divine power. So they got this: in order to take my revenge on you, I will drain all of your blood, but this is not it. This is not the full revenge. I will make clones of you from that blood, and then I will take my revenge on you on those clones I have created. Well, this is as sick as it sounds. Primary objectives of Blood Rider Convenant are to expand their influence through terror and conquest. They focus on raiding and pillaging, targeting both imperial and non-imperial targets to capture resources and slaves for their sacrificial purposes. The Blood Rider Convenant maintain just very few formal alliances, but they sometimes collaborate with other pirate factions, most notably the Angel Cartel, with whom they occasionally coordinate raids or share resources for mutual benefit. The primary enemies are the Amarr Empire, whose doctrine they have explicitly rejected and whose citizens they regularly target, and Concord, which seeks to suppress their criminal and violent activities. Additionally, the Blood Riders are opposed by various other factions and entities within New Eden that view their extreme ideology and practices as a significant threat to stability and peace. As the name suggests, they are riding to capture blood, and after that they need more blood and more blood. The Caldari State, the same as Amarr Empire, is one of the four major playable empires and has originated from a group of fiercely independent corporations that broke away from the Galante Federations centuries ago. This separation was driven by fundamental ideological differences only, not at all by greed and thirst for power, no, ideological of course. Unlike their Amarrian friends, people in Caldari State are not slaves. They are only required total obedience to corporation, and everyone loves prosperity for corporations. Today, the Caldari State is focused on maintaining independence and expanding its economic dominance in New Eden. The Caldari State primary allies are the Amarr Empire, with whom they share a mutual interest in maintaining order and control, and the main enemies are the Galante Federation for obvious reason and the Ammatar Republic. They don't like Ammatar since they are considered unpredictable. Internally, there is a threat of the Guristas pirates, posing a significant security challenge with their raids and subversive activities. Caldari wants to save the world with corporate economic success. The Concord, or Consolidated Cooperation and Relation Command Assembly, was established as a law enforcement organization by the four major empires of New Eden: the Amarr Empire, Caldari State, Convenant Federation, and Ammatar Republic. So, originally, Concord's primary purpose was to prevent wars and ensure diplomatic resolutions to conflicts, some sort of real-life United Nations, but its role has expanded over time to include policing and maintaining order. So Concord are those guys that jumps in when something happens. The only problem is everyone knows their reaction time, so they can plan their actions accordingly. Today's Concord's main objectives are to maintain peace and stability across New Eden. This involves monitoring and regulating the activities of capsuleers, enforcing interstellar laws, fighting against piracy and illegal activities. Its mandate is to serve the collective interest, which means it must remain neutral. So hey, all four major empires are friends in here. Concord works closely with the security forces of all four major empires to enforce law and maintain order. Concord often face opposition from pirate factions like the Cartel, Turistas, Serpentis, and Blood Raiders, who view it as a major obstacle in their activities. Needless to say, some capsuleers see Concord as a friend, and others resent Concord's regulations and enforcement actions, seeing them as restrictions on their freedom, well, the freedom to destroy any ship. So Concord wants to save the world by upholding peace and security for the greater good of New Eden. The Deathless CIrcle originated as a clandestine faction within the Ammatar Republic, composed of former slaves and exiled dissidents who sought to escape the oppressive rule of the Amarr Empire. This group is proposing two concepts. First of all is the radical freedom, because normal freedom is not enough. They need to have total and unhinged freedom. And the second one is the eternal vengeance against those who oppose them. Their name reflects the belief in achieving immortality through the erasure of their enemies. The primary objectives of the Deathless CIrcle are to take revenge on those who oppose them and to establish a new order free from any control. They are mainly targeting the Amarr Empire and its allies. Additionally, the Deathless CIrcle seeks to recruit admirers and to create a network of support that can sustain their insurgency. Ultimate goal is to dismantle all the existing power structures, so they view these power structures as oppressive, and they want to forge a new path for freedom and equality. Allies, they really don't have any allies. Sometimes they collaborate with other anti-empire factions, including certain Ammatar insurgent groups and sympathetic elements within the Convenant federations. As enemies, first of all, the Amarr Empire and its allies, but also the security forces, establishment forces from within various factions. So these guys are pretty much against almost everyone. They will save the world by bringing in pure freedom. The Drifters are a mysterious and technological advanced faction in EveOnline, believed to be connected to the ancient sleeper technology, emerging from time to time from hidden wormholes and being able to see beyond into the known reality. They possess a combination of advanced sleeper and Jovian technology, which suggests a deep connection to the enigmatic history of New Eden. Largely, Drifter existence is covered in secrecy. They are thought to be the result of the sleeper evolution or a reaction to external threats that sleeper civilization encountered. The Drifter objectives in New Eden are unclear, making them one of the most unpredictable and dangerous factions in the galaxy. They have been observed conducting incursions into various regions, attacking capsuleers and harvesting mysterious artifacts. Their actions suggest a focused interest in gathering intelligence and advanced technology. possibly to ensure their own survival, or maybe to pursue a more sinister agenda. So one day we may see these guys coming up again and invading New Eden. The Drifters has no known allies, operating independently with an apparent disregard for all political and military alliances within New Eden. They are considered enemies by almost all factions, particularly by the Amarr Empire, which has been targeted in several major Drifter invasions. No one knows for sure what these guys want, and no one understands exactly what are their capabilities. Edencom, or the New Eden Common Defense Initiative, was established as a unified defense force in response to the sudden and aggressive incursions by the Triglavian collective into known space, formed by a coalition of the major empires, Amarr Empire, Caldari State, Galactic Federation, and Ammatar Republic. Edencom was created to coordinate a collective military response and protect the sovereignty of New Eden against the existential threat posed by the Triglavians. The formation of Edencom represented a rare moment of unity among the empires, driven by the urgent need to address the unprecedented challenges posed by the Triglavian invasion and to safeguard the stability of the galaxy. So Edencom is some sort of Concord on steroids. Edencom's current objectives are focused on defending New Eden from further Triglavian incursions and restoring stability in areas affected by the Triglavian conflicts. Edencom's allies are primarily the member empires of the coalition, the Amarr Empire, Caldari State, Galactic Federation, and Ammatar Republic, who work together to support the coalition's objectives and ensure a unified defense against the Triglavian threat. The coalition also engages with other factions and organizations that share a common interest in resisting the Triglavian invasion or benefit from the stability provided by Edencom efforts. However, Edencom faces significant opposition from the Triglavian collective, which see the coalition as a major obstacle to their plans for galactic transformation. While everyone else is just talking about saving the world, Edencom currently is doing it by not allowing the Triglavians to overrun it. EverMore, formerly known as Interbus, is a relatively recent and enigmatic faction in New Eden. While Interbus was established to freight goods between factions, EverMore has a totally different profile, emerging as a response to the power struggles and instability in the galaxy. Initially formed by a coalition of individuals from various factions, EverMore sought to create a new order based on principle of stability and governance outside the reach of the major empires, and to recruit the best possible people in order to achieve that. EverMore new development is the Paragon, the ones with EM marks. So there is a desire to create a faction that stands as a beacon of excellence and morality, in contrast to the often corrupt and conflicted nature of existing powers. Paragon quickly distinguished itself by its focus on high standards, meritocracy, and the pursuit of an utopian society. As friends, Paragon has friends in everyone at the individual level, as Paragon seeks to attract talented and like-minded individuals from all corners. Enemies, they draw attention of all major powers, and now they face opposition from those who view their growing influence as a threat to the established balance of power. This includes both traditional empires factions that see EverMore as a rival, and also pirate groups that view their attempts at order as an impediment to their operations. EverMore wants to save the world by creating a new and better world outside the reach of the establishment.
Warp drive active.
All of our tutorials are meant to be seen in sequence. Be sure you have checked on that. Before we go, please give us a thumbs up, it's free. Grow with the channel, Hit that subscribe button and activate notification bell now. Share and always recommend Maxte in your social media and to your friends. Thank you for being with us. See you in the next one.